Hey guys, it's Kwana and I'm back again with another review. So it's been a little while and I'm sounding nice and raspy, but it's fall and so all of our favorite shows are back on television. So I'm going to try to bring to you some reviews of one of my favorite shows, This Is Us. So let's dig in. Alright, so obviously I am 2 episodes behind the rest of the world. Well, I watched them on time, but as you can hear, I've been a little under the weather, so I was in no condition to make a review when episode 1 aired. Which has given me an interesting perspective because I'm part of a couple of online groups, fan groups for the show, and people were very divided about episode 1, which I thought was fascinating and I enjoyed it. It was an enjoyable episode. But I think I also, knowing that they had previewed or teased some of the newer characters for the trailer, I kind of felt like I had an understanding of where the episode was going to go anyway. I felt like I understood that they were going to be introducing new people who would be connected to the Pearsons in this season. And we know that I believe season 5 is supposed to be the last season for the show, which if you've watched Dan Fogelman's work, specifically Parenthood, you know that with any kind of family drama, there is definitely an end point. I don't think this is going to be like a Modern Family type thing where this show goes on forever and ever and ever. There's definitely an end point, and I think Dan Fogelman does a really good job of that. And we've already seen what the end point is going to be. It's going to be that scene of the family surrounding Rebecca as she takes her last moments. So, being that we already know where the end is, and we saw that with the end of episode season 3, there's definitely a trajectory that they have to get to, and they have a very short window to get there. So, in this first episode, they introduced 3 new characters: Cassidy, Malik, and Jack. I'm not sure who the actor is who plays Jack. I think this might be one of his first major roles, and he is in fact a actual he's actual what do you call it, sight impaired individual. Asante Plack, who plays Malik, if you watched one of the most talked about shows this summer, this spring, which was When They See Us, he played one of the exonerated 5, and so he's been just really getting a lot of big roles and being a part of a lot of things. And I kind of almost wonder if this role was made for him, and I'll tell you why I think that in just a second. But fun fact, he is the nephew of Samira Wiley, who is from Orange is the New Black, who played Pusey, and who plays in The Handmaid's Tale. So interesting. And then you have Cassidy, who is playing a war veteran who is suffering from PTSD and alcoholism, and she's portrayed by Jennifer Morrison, who, those of you who are fans of House or Once Upon a Time, know Jennifer Morrison well. What's kind of interesting is the Malik's father is played by Omar Epps, who was also on House with Jennifer Morrison. So it'd be kind of cool if we get some kind of intersectionality between their 2 characters, kind of bringing back a House reunion. Okay, so pause, because y'all know I hear stuff at nighttime when I film at night, so I start hearing stuff and my head starts going. I'm like, what's happening? So forgive me for that. And I am looking the way that I'm looking because I am crazy sleepy. So anyhow, so they introduced us to Cassidy. Cassidy is coming home from the Middle East. She has been exposed to all kinds of terror and horrors over there, and she comes home and she's dealing with PTSD, and she's having a hard time assimilating back to civilian life, which causes her to start abusing alcohol as well as abusing her family. This caused a split in her marriage and causes her to become separated from her husband and her son. She is at an AA group that is, I guess, gonna be connected to the character of Nicky, Uncle Nicky, who is Jack's baby brother. Then you have Asante Black. Asante Black is playing this young man named Malik. Malik is 16 or 17 years old. I don't remember if they said in the show, but he is a young boy. He apparently is a really good cook, wants to become a chef, helps his father in auto mechanic shop, and he is a teen father, and he's actually raising his daughter. Well, his parents are helping him to raise his daughter, which is an interesting reversal of what we're used to seeing. Um, and he has a two-parent household and very loving parents. He's trying to be mature, but his parents are trying to let him be a teenager. So he goes to this party where he encounters Deja, and he's going to become Deja's love interest this season. I thought this is kind of interesting because with Deja's the actress who plays Deja, I'm not sure how old she is in real life, but she goes through these bouts where she can look like a little girl, but then she can also look older. She's playing a ninth grader in the show. So you have to put her at between 14 and 15 years old. And so I'm a little bit nervous about her dating someone who has a kid or becoming the love interest. I don't know how the kid will play in all of this, what role he will have, whether her and Malik will stay together. My guess is that them coming together is going to bring Omar Epps' character into contact with Randall and the rest of the Pearsons that way, and that he will eventually shine as like the greater connection between the two. Right now he's just kind of like a background character, but it's Omar Epps. Definitely he has the more star power. So I'm expecting to see a big connection between him. We do know that he has some back pain. He also was in the street life and he is now out of it. His son is trying to do whatever is necessary to bring in money for his daughter, and so he tries to kind of dabble in that. But obviously, his father has a big enough reputation where people in the community want to keep him out of things. So it's kind of an interesting spin. And then of course we have Jack, who we don't know is Jack. We just see this young man courting this young woman, and the reveal is, of course, that he is grown up, futuristic baby Jack, which was kind of cute. So we have two characters that are in the current time frame, and then one who is in the future time frame. So I don't think we'll be seeing that much of Jack. I think it was just enough of a teaser for us to know that Jack is going to have a happy existence, and I don't see them breaking that time continuum to go into the future that much, because that's a lot, bringing in the other characters into his life and showing the older versions of them, maybe a couple of times, but I kind of hope that they leave that to the back burner. I don't really need to see Jack. I feel like I saw enough of his trajectory with like how he met his wife and all those different things. So that was episode 1. Now, a lot of people were really upset, and I guess it was because they were waiting for those big reveals that came in like the last 5 minutes of the episode. I thought this was genius. I thought this is what this show has been about from all along. It's strangers and how strangers are connected, and the idea of the show being like these 4 strangers who all share the same birthday, but then of course we find out that they're all members of the same family, who share the same birthday. And almost, it was exciting when that reveal played out, but at the same time, it could have gone any way. Definitely this is the path that we've gotten. This is us. But it's kind of interesting to think of what could have been if it had been just the show of all these people who just shared these coincidences in common and how their lives are intersectional. So anyway, I liked the first episode. I thought it was very engaging, entertaining. It got us back to what the show is all about, these surprising ways. And it set us up for a mystery for this season, right? Because last season the mystery was like who the her was that they were going to see. And they kind of teased the idea of like, well, we didn't see Kate in the flash forward, and we didn't see Deja. We didn't see Kevin's baby mama. or Kevin for that matter. But we know where Kevin is. We know Kevin's still around. So I thought the episode 1 was good. I definitely would give it like a 9 out of 10, 8.5, 9 out of 10. So then we get to episode 2, which is called The Pool Part 2. And it, again, deals mostly in flashback, but we do get nuances of the current timeline. We see Kate, Toby, the rest of the Pearson clan that is on the West Coast dealing with the outcome of Jack's diagnosis that he is going to be blind, trying to adapt to that, trying to baby proof the house, and how they're all dealing with the stressors. We see that Kate is overeating to some extent. We see that Toby is very zealously working out and trying to become physically fit. I don't know what this is on my cheek. It's like my cheek is shiny. Okay, we see Kevin trying to withstand and maintain his sobriety, and torn between whether he should take a job that's going to be filming in Chicago, what's going to happen with that. I thought was really interesting. First of all, the M. Night Shyamalan cameo was interesting because we all know that as much as we love M. Night Shyamalan, and he has a special place in all of our hearts because we all love Signs, let's face it, he has taken a bit of a slump of recent years. He had a little mini comeback, I thought, for a moment with that show that he had on Fox that was with Matt Damon. What was Wayward Pines, and it was kind of like a little bit of like a come up, and he's had a couple of like comebacks since then, major comebacks since then. Of course, we have the trilogy of like the Unbreakable trilogy, and things of that nature. So he has had a comeback, but he's not been on the high end for a lot of flicks. I'm still side-eyeing Avatar: Last Airbender. I'm just saying, I don't know why they thought that was going to be a good idea. That hurt my feelings personally, but I digress. So we get Kevin dealing with his sobriety, trying to maintain his sobriety, growing this plant. Really, what we're really getting is the idea of him being that nurturer and also that people pleaser, and those two being kind of at war with each other, but two sides of the same coin, and that's kind of what gives him his sanity. And then we have Randall trying to get the rest of the family, especially the girls, to accept their move to Pittsburgh. And are they in Pittsburgh? Philadelphia? They're Philadelphia? Philadelphia. I'm going to look that up. I can't remember. Because I know they're big Steelers fans, but I feel like they moved to Philly. I feel like it was Philly. It was Philly. It was definitely Philly. It was definitely Philly because they did the Rocky thing. I'm tripping. Don't mind me. Okay, so anyway, so he does that. Tessa's getting this new haircut, trying to like find herself. Deja wants to find herself in another way by being allowed to ride the bus by herself, which Randall is not trying to have because he's not ready for his little girls to grow up. And Beth, it seems to be adjusting well. We had that scare with them last season. Hopefully we're done with that and we can just deal with happy Beth and Randall R&B because we love them so much. And then of course we have the flashback, which is Jack and Rebecca trying to hold on to the last of the triplets' childhood, going to the pool. You've got Kate trying to find confidence but kind of seeing the things that shatter her with these mean girls who try to trick her. We see Randall not quite fitting in with his black friends, in that dichotomy of like, not being able to really embrace black culture, which is in this moment in the early 90s starting to become popular culture, but not quite fitting in because of this white family that he's been raised by. But then we see the part where Kevin has kind of embraced it because he's cool, and things like hip hop are cool in the 90s, and so he's sitting there impressing the friends with like his knowledge of all of the lyrics to like Rexon effect or whatever. So it was kind of interesting. Here's what I'll say about this episode. I think definitely everything from the current timeline was necessary. With necessary pieces of puzzles, we needed to see Kate and Toby adjusting to being parents with a blind child. We needed to see Kevin, Randall, and Beth coming together to try to sway the girls to appreciating their new lives. And we need to see Kevin and what the next moves are for him. We needed that. Did we need the pool? Personally, while it's cute, I didn't need the pool. Definitely the pool is an attempt to keep those young actors who play the triplets in the show, but everything that we saw, their characters, are things that we've already established well. It wasn't anything to help further develop their characters because the characters are so fully developed. And I think that's the problem with dealing with the three different timelines is the adult roles are so fully developed that it's almost like they almost did too good of a job setting the stage for the adults they become when they were younger children. So now that the actors who are playing the triplets are like middle school, beginning to be high school age, and then you have the ones who are playing the high schoolers, like I kind of want to see the young adult versions of them, like Beth and Randall and that kind of thing. But in terms of the younger kids, it's almost like they mimicked the adults so much that there's nowhere for them to go. They mimicked them so well that we're not actually seeing growth. We're just seeing a repetition of who they are. You're going to have Kevin trying to please everybody, trying to impress everybody. You're going to have Randall all about books, all about smarts, all about that. And that's not all Randall is. And so now it's becoming more like they're caricatures of the adult versions. The adult versions are so much better actors and more interesting with the complexities that they bring to the characters that it just kind of, it felt like an unnecessary scene. I didn't need to see it. I much would have rather have seen something more challenging. Like I just thought back to, they keep playing that clip on YouTube where Rebecca confronts her mother about her racism and about how she treats Randall. I much rather see something meaty, see an encounter that Randall has that shakes him to his core and has him have to ask his white parents, about being a black boy in America. Those are the kinds of things I want to see. I want to see the hard conversations of Kate, especially because the actress who plays teen Kate is much smaller in size. I apologize for this, for saying something wrong, but she is smaller in size than the younger actress who plays Kate. And so they tried to make her look heavier, but there's definitely like some unhealthy eating habits that develop. And we did see a little bit of that post Jack's death, but I would love to see more of that, like how that came about. So there's just some hard things I think they can do with those characters to make that feel more fresh, but I'm definitely really all about the current storyline. So that's it for the first two episodes. I thought they were very good, very in line with what we've gotten. I don't feel like it was a slump at all. People were really knocking it, and I think if they really go back to what they loved about the episodes in the very beginning, I think if they stop attaching themselves so closely to the Pearsons and more to the method of storytelling and the connections and the feelings the show invokes, they would allow themselves to have a much better time. I had a good time. I enjoyed the episodes, and I'm looking forward to episode 3. So tell me down below in the comments what you thought. Which character out of the new characters do you want to see more of? Which one did you feel like it was like, yeah, maybe? Are there any other characters you really want to see? I cannot wait until we get more of Beth. I really want more of Beth in this season. More of young Beth. I loved how they did that. With young Beth, I want to see more of young Beth and young Randall and how they could come to be. I'm really interested in that, and I kind of want to see more of oddly enough, Rebecca and Miguel's courtship. I kind of want to see that. I don't know why, but anyway, what do you want to see from this season? What are you hoping the connections will be? Do you think that Cassidy is going to be Kevin's baby mama? Hmm. Things that make you go, hmm. So anyhow, guys, that's all for now. I will try to get back on a more regular schedule broadcast. But until next time, toodles.